coming to improv at Brooklyn. To know the way into the heart. No, this is the wrong speech. I'm so sorry. My name is Nathan. I manage the co-working space here, TokenWorks. I also run a blockchain innovation company called Macroscape, and we're helping other companies develop their token strategy, investing in those companies, bring them to market. So we're kind of like in between Brooklyn and other countries like Europe and Dubai. So we're pleased to sort of host two really great companies tonight. The first is YouNow, which is launching a platform called Props. I'm going to dive a little bit. I'll give them the elevator pitch. So this is Adi Sideman, and Peter is over there.
Here.
So Props is a decentralized ecosystem for video applications. There have been mobile video guys for years. They've been doing it for a long time. They practically invented live streaming in the US. They have 8% market share in mobile live streaming. And to give you an idea, YouTube has about 16%, Twitter has about 9%. They have 40 million registered users, spending about 50 minutes each day on the platform. And they're attracting more brands and media companies, bringing in audiences to participate and interact with that content. What they're doing now is they're translating that into a two-sided market, and I'll sort of let Adi get into that. Was that a good sort of intro?
Perfect.
Awesome, great.
I will do the yes and.
Okay, great. Perfect. Improv, here you go. I'll let you take it away.
Okay,
Thanks.
awesome. Yeah, thank you so much. So I'm going to stand over here because this cable is very short. And thank you, Nathan, for having us and running this amazing space. And it's great to present with Kevin with this great project that's coming up. So I'm going to try and keep it as short as I can so we can get to the main attraction. We also have a live demo, and I was not able to connect to the Wi-Fi. And so we will, if you can. But I did test it on the 3G, and it was working, so I was going to be very proud about that. Sure. My password is 4444. So we're mobile video guys. I'm here with my colleague Peter. We've been running YouNow since 2011. It has become a big business. When we started, we were literally the ones who invented how live streaming works on mobile. We are very glad to see brands and media companies adapting the platform and doing interactive and participatory programming on the platform. As Nathan mentioned, we have 40 million registered users, several million monthly uniques, and who spend about 50 minutes per day on this. This engagement translates into a thriving business model. When in 2014 we went down to Apple and we told them we want users to spend money on a virtual currency that they can buy, non-crypto, and then we want other users on the other side who contribute to the growth of the network, namely creators, to earn. And we didn't think they were going to allow us to do that, and they did, and we were the first to build a two-sided market with virtual currency back in 2014. Now it's standard of sorts, and we're taking this economy, we're taking our user base, we're taking our technology, and our team. We're about 40 people based in Times Square, and we are leveraging all of that along with a layer of cryptocurrency and blockchain technologies to go after a much bigger opportunity and a much bigger vision, and that is to decentralize digital media distribution. And so this is what we'll talk about tonight, which is Props, the Props token, the Props ecosystem. We see two main issues with digital media distribution today. The main thing is it's controlled by a couple of giant incumbents who decide what we see and what we don't see. Just 7 weeks ago, YouTube decided to take down hundreds of thousands of YouTube clips about the war in Syria. Society is not going to stand for long for people actually fucking with the collective memory of history. So that's one thing around centralized media. The second thing is that these, 2 or 3 big incumbents who control over 90% of digital media distribution amass hundreds of billions of dollars in enterprise value, and the vast majority of it goes to the founders and the investors, while the people who actually constitute the network, contribute to the network, get very little, if any, of that. And so, we believe that through a tokenized economy, we can solve those issues where everyone can earn through cryptocurrency and be aligned towards the growth of the network that they're helping to grow and appreciate. And so whether you are Comcast, who is...
Just use mine that's on Wi-Fi.
It's okay. I'll use this on the 4G because I have it installed.
Okay.
Thank you, Nathan. Whether, I mentioned Comcast, one of our investors, whether they are streaming, sports content or other content that people can watch together, or whether it's a YouTuber who is doing a meet or greet, or whether it's a developer who is adding functionality or use cases, or just a user who invites 20 of their friends. Well, the system knows in real time the value of each contribution to the growth of the network. Even the user who invites 20 friends, each new registered user has a value. And so every 24 hours, there's a calculation and a distribution of tokens to the contributors on the network, whether they're big or small. And the Rise app, which is what we're going to see here, is the first platform on this ecosystem, actually sends a push notification to all the users who contributed in the past 24 hours. In a way, one way to think about it, it's kind of like mining, where based on your contribution, your content, your engagement, your sharing, etc., you're actually mining tokens. And we can talk more about how the mining works. I'm going like this because it's not actual technical mining, but it has the characteristics of receiving those tokens for activity. It's a utility token. It's launching in December. It is usable on day one for payment status, influence, surfacing content, promoting content, allowing it to be discovered, access to functionality and content, whether it's pay-per-view or freemium or subscription, and compensating, of course, the participants and the contributors. So, Rise is the first platform on the network. It's a many-to-many video platform that allows developers to facilitate any kind of interactive video experience. And we're going to look at some examples in just a minute. It comes with, the technology that's available, with the two-sided ecosystem, and with distribution to the millions of users on the network. And anyone can build either within Rise or on the ecosystem, and we'll see a diagram of that in just a few minutes. We chose interactive video that's powered by microtransactions, A, because we know that business very well, so we chose that to start. B, because microtransactions lend themselves very well to tokenization. And the third is it actually is a really great ARPU. This is from Mary Meeker, just from earlier this year. So we're not only bringing millions of users, we're also, and even maybe more importantly, bringing thousands of creators. Think about YouTubers with hundreds of thousands and millions of followers sometimes, and that are now aligned with us to grow the network. We're also launching a consumer level wallet to make it really easy for these folks to realize the value from the network. So we talked a little bit about developers. Let's take a look at a few use cases, and then we'll attempt to do a live demo. So here's one example. Everybody is present. I'm here, I can drag a friend up, I can drag a piece of content up, and in this case, the use case that was invented is karaoke. Here's another one, linear content. I'm dragging a few friends. Now I am watching together, chatting with them. Here's another example. America's Got Talent has actually been doing auditions on YouNow for the past 3 years. Producer on one side, bringing in people from the audience to try out. And forever they've been asking for these buttons. Now they can create their own experience for their use case, and anybody can decide how their room behaves for their particular program, experience, etc. Now they can have their buttons. Here's another example of, this is actually something, here's another example. I like to talk about this example for just a quick second. So 2 months ago, one of my mentors actually emailed me this story from The Information, and it was about this big, hit that's happening in China, which was this game Mafia Wars. Are you guys familiar with Mafia Wars? It's a card game. And so I didn't know. I love Mafia Wars. I play it. We play it in our offsites, and I didn't know that there was an app, and I didn't know that Mafia War is huge in China. And it kind of made sense because you need 5 to 10 people to play it, and when you're home alone and you can play it from your phone, you click and you meet 5 or 10 people and you can play Mafia Wars from your phone. And the article in The Information was called The Werewolves, Whales of China, and it said stuff like, the 5 top gaming apps in the Chinese stores are all werewolf apps, and it's hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. And my mentor, who's also one of our investors, asked me, can we do this on props? And I was very glad that he asked, because this is exactly the kind of stuff that used to be that you had to go and raise a bunch of money and put together a team and get the video technology to work and get the in-app purchases to work and distribute it, and that can take a year and a half if you're fortunate. But with this platform, you get those pieces and you can rapidly decide what the logic of the interaction is going to be. I'm excited because there's really all these use cases. One of my friends is the CMO of one of the a huge auction house, and I showed him what we're doing, and I showed him the demo, and he said, Adi, we stream all of our auctions, and it's not just high art, it's also motorcycles in the Midwest, and it's also wines for $50, and we're actually looking for and we're asking our developers, how can the live streamers who are watching, tens of thousands of people each day from all over the world can participate in those auctions. And he was looking at this as, a potential solution. Now, I'm not saying this is happening anytime soon, but, there's all kinds of, new use cases that come to mind as soon as, the video pieces of allowing people to interact with each other, not to mention with the financial layer on top of it, enables. So with that, let me see if I can make this demo work. I'm actually going to Slack my team because this is still in beta. Please. And let's see. Okay. Okay. Let me start by dragging my friend, or not, Peter. So this is where the 3G is fucking with us. Let me just restart that. Hi, Peter.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good.
Okay, I'm going to drag my CTO. Hi, Iran. Iran. He's too cool for school. let me drag Fawaz. Okay. Hi, Fawaz. How are ya? Okay, I think our connectivity is, let me go ahead and give Fawaz some, let me add him as a friend. He's now earning, because basically all those likes translate. And let me give Oli, I'm giving you some love.
So what does that translate into?
So this actually translates into props in the end of the day. What you're seeing here in the gift tray, if we're getting a little bit more in depth, is that these are all actually have dollar value. People can buy into the virtual currency from the app stores. They get a little bit every day for logging in that allows them to do some of the free stuff, but then they have to pay for the more expensive stuff. And what we do behind the scenes is we take that money and every 24 hours we go to the market and buy props for it. So it's a very practical approach to allow regular behavior today to impact our crypto economy, which is the only thing we care about. And so that revenue goes into a reward pool every day that rewards all the contributors to the network based on formula that we publish in the white paper and that we will continue to evolve. And besides that, there's also a reward pool which allows for the mining, and we can talk about that. Hey, Fawaz, let's go into your room, and then I'll be in the audience for a second. So Oli, and please join us there. And guys in the audience, please join us there. Okay. So I'm going to jump into Fawaz's room, and we'll experience another use case, which is watching together. Hi, Peter.
Hey, what's going on?
Good, good, good. So let me drag also this friend in.
Oh, okay, I'll put you back down.
Hi, Oli. So imagine that this is a YouTube video, or this is an MTV streaming, or whatever it is. Now I am here with my friends having a conversation as we are watching linear streaming. So anyone can click on anyone can gift anyone can talk to anyone, and anyone can earn. Completely democratic platform. We're going to jump off. Let me just tell them, thank you. Done. Okay. Thank you. The amazing thing is that it did work on 3G, and everybody is live all the time. So if I click on somebody in the audience, they're actually live too. Everybody's live. And everybody's present, or what we call present. I don't know how to make this shut up. I think I figured it out. Okay. So this is, we have two more slides. This is the ecosystem at a glance. 50% of the tokens are held by a foundation that oversees the entire ecosystem. This foundation logarithmically and mathematically rewards all the contributors and all the nodes and all the players on the ecosystem mathematically and equitably every 24 hours over a period of years. This is part of the pool for the mining. And so effectively, if we look past here, in-app purchases, we go to the market, get props for it, put it in the rewards pool. The foundation contributes their rewards every day, and this much larger pool that is meant to create a token network effect and give outsized rewards to initial adapters is at play there from day one to help build the network. So that's that. And Rise, which you just saw, we build as an example of an app and some best practices. And then we're working right now through the foundation to create some grants and some incentives for other services, some of them brand new, some of them actually much larger than YouNow or Rise, to come in and to bring in their use cases, some of which you saw earlier, some examples. I think it's noteworthy to mention, besides the fact that the foundation is a nonprofit and is not YouNow and is separate from us, is that YouNow itself, the company behind this, is a venture-backed company, and our investors are Union Square Ventures and Comcast Ventures and others. We were extremely sensitive that this kind of practical approach is not necessarily the purest approach, and we want to create facts on the ground and bring this to the market today through the distribution channels that are there today, some of them centralized, like an app on the Apple or Google store. And so we felt a higher sense of responsibility towards the community with regards to governance, and that's why we're actually turning the company from a C Corp to a B Corp with a mission that is not necessarily profit to shareholders, but the appreciation of the token and the growth of the ecosystem. So it's very clear that we are aligned with everybody else in the ecosystem. And we're changing our business model from taking a 40 or 50% cut on those in-app transactions, which are millions of dollars each month today, to not doing that and working to appreciate the tokens in the ecosystem, which we keep a quarter of. So that's the short story, and you had a question.
Yeah, I was just curious about like why the specific changes from the C Corp to the B Corp. Like,
I have to say that on that front, it was more a communication matter than anything, because effectively we are changing our business model. We're no longer going to take the cut. We're going to be much more friendly. The ecosystem is friendly to everybody who contributes to it by definition. We're just another contributor. And we want to make sure that it's known that we are aligned with that ecosystem. So by making us a public benefit corporation, it's just another way to communicate that. It's obviously not a must, but we chose to take that step. Great. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
On the slide that showed the network effects and buying coins off of the market.
Yes.
The other side about the attention economy and what your relationship with your advertisers would be. Could you speak to that?
Yeah. So this is actually not our example. This can be an example of somebody else, like ABC, who may be creating their own experiences, interactive experiences, and they may want to sell advertising. And so they could do a similar thing where, the money comes in and they can choose to, drive demand to the props that they also hold through a similar mechanism. This could also be subscription. This can also be pay-per-view. This just happens to be one way of bringing in value into the system.
For the companies that operate with this particular business model, do you see them seeing this new token economy through a blockchain being something that they can also implement? So I see you as someone who can take on Snapchat.
Yeah. So you know that Comcast invested $500 million for 2% of Snapchat. And companies like that, we're on video, so there's certain things I can't say, but companies, we hear from creators all the time, from YouTube creators, that it's unfair that YouTube takes 50%, or it's unfair that the adpocalypse, changes their rev share or demonetizes them, or whatever it is, or LGBT content has gone down, by 60% in terms because, and we don't like that, and we much prefer a decentralized, transparent system and whatnot. The curious thing is that we hear it also from, the big media companies. They are also beholden to the Facebooks and the YouTubes and the Snapchats, and they have very little leverage. And so we're hearing the same thing from both sides. And so to your question of whether media companies are looking at this seriously, they are. Yes, sir.
So there are what's the extent of decentralization if you're in the App Store? Like let's say somebody live streams a Syrian war. How will that stay up consistently?
Yeah. So we on Rise, first of all, we decided to start with decentralizing the ecosystem. We haven't decentralized the servers that provide the live streaming. As a matter of fact, we wanted to. But it was going to take us another year or maybe two to do that. There are companies, there are projects like LivePeer and others who are already working on that problem. Our expertise and our DNA is in the application layer and consumer-facing part of the experience. And so we decided to start there, and we are actually creating partnership, whether it's with storage that we're just about to announce for storage and coin swaps, or with LivePeer when their technology will be ready and it will be more cost-effective and better quality and better scaling. We will move there, but it doesn't mean that we can't bring the value of a decentralized economy today, through the plan that I presented here, which is actually launching in a month. So that's our approach. It's a unique approach. We call it the practical path to decentralization. Actually, Albert Wenger from USV just wrote a blog post about it, which is interesting, and I hope that helps answer your question.
I have a question based off of what you said. So, when you said the app layer is decentralized, can you speak a little onto the network layer and what you're using to
So
build this?
the network layer is traditional right now, in a sense that it's AWS, it's all the usual suspects. And, we envision that it's going to be several years before we can migrate onto great decentralized technologies. Until then, we continue to do research into which ones to choose. We're not going to build the entire stack ourselves. Yeah.
That's what Singular DTV ended up doing. They're spending all this time and money developing that application, the network layer.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And is that's a disadvantage just because of time and the market demand, or?
It's not necessarily our strong suit.
Got it.
There are others who will do it faster and better. We need to pick and choose our battles. We have a lot of work just on what you've seen, and to improve the consumer-facing wallet, and to improve the consumer-facing experiences, and to get on this. I mean, part of the thesis here is that television has been dropping in terms of its ability to attract an audience. They're all moving to the Snapchats and the Instagrams and the HQ type experiences that are participatory. This is where the demand is, and we build a platform to allow to create those experiences, and so we're focusing on that.
Are you actually planning on going desktop and all kinds of devices?
When we have time, we're starting with Android and iOS, and we hope that folks will get grants from the foundation to do stuff on desktop. Yes, sir.
So, where does basic attention token fit in this? Is this like a competitor of yours, or the marketplace? Or does
Yeah.
it fit within this ecosystem?
I think that we've started working on this about a year ago, and we've always been extremely conscious and extremely impressed with a lot of the theories behind it, and we've been following it closely. I think that it's very different in its practicality. So the basic, the service Steam, for example, has today about 350,000 users, and it's very clunky from a user experience. It's very hard to bring it to a mass market, etc. We chose a path that focuses on bringing this to the mass market and putting it in the hands of consumers. I think they chose a different path. We have been inspired by a lot of their thinking. Yeah, I hope that helps answer the question.
I've read that Steam sees the potential for their cryptocurrency to be used on other platforms
Yeah.
and across platforms. Could you also see a similar path for profit?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's our whole play here, which is we intend to put this our wallet and our identity and our into the hands of our millions of users, which starts with a strong user base, and then the foundation will put the technology in the hands of whether it's the media companies or independent developers or production companies and others who are working on migrating some of these programming from TV to this interactive TV experience. And so the answer is yes, and yeah. I think we have to wrap up. Thank you guys so much. And we'll be around.